Welcome to MSP Unplugged's Emerging Vendor Series. I'm your host, Paco Lebron. Join us in this new series highlighting ConnectWise PitchIT contestants as we're highlighting an emerging vendor who is changing the game and making a big impact in the MSP space. But before we go into that, we want to talk to you about an event that's coming in a little over a month, and that is TechCon Unplugged. TechCon will be in Woodbridge, New Jersey, September 7th through the 10th at the Delta Hotels Woodbridge. Join us for an amazing event as we bring the IT community together across 2.5 days of content to help better your business, to save money, save time, and most importantly, to improve services. This show is for any size IT solution provider, so most importantly, this is the place for you. Head over to TechCon Unplugged. TechCon Unplugged for the tickets are on sale at $349. Again, get your tickets now, techconunplugged.com. All right. It is an Emerging Vendor Series episode. That means we have our co-host, the lovable, the amazing, the unicorn wearing as he's going to his destinations as necessary because he is doing what he can for the community. Who am I talking about? We have Sean Lardo, Economy Evangelist over at ConnectWise. Sean, how are you today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for acknowledging the unicorn because that's probably the most important piece of my attire. I'm actually looking, if anybody sees shoes out there that represent that are nice, like some Nikes or even some new, I'm a big New Balance fan recently because they're dope. But if you find like unicorn is, kind of affiliated ones, I'm down. Let me know, send me a link. I'll buy them now. So yes, but I'm doing great otherwise. Better yet,
Nice.
Look, wait. I don't know if you can see, but like that's my mouse pad.
Nice.
Yeah, right. So yeah, I'm doing well. How are you doing, Paco?
I cannot complain. I am better than good, better than most. As the time of us recording this, I am enjoying the tail end of July and getting ready for August as it comes through. August is going to be a busy month for me here as we're going to be wrapping up a bunch of stuff with not only the event, but also personally here as well. So definitely embracing that coming in, but trying to take a little bit of balance as much as possible before the calm of the storm, as you will.
I am packing after this to get ready for ChannelCon in
Nice.
Vegas next week. So and that's gonna be any MSP and any vendors that have been in the space long enough, has been there, knows that this is like it is from the time you get there to the time you leave. That's the end of it. Like literally, I feel like I tell like my daughter, she's like, okay, let me know what's going on. I'm like, I'll talk to you in 5 days. Kind of, it's just the way it is. And but I'm super stoked about that because the good thing is there's a lot of these vendors that are in PitchIT that are sponsored, that are involved in CompTIA and ChannelCon, and will be there with booth space. So nice. Yeah, which is really exciting because it just shows that they're reinvesting into the space, which is great,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's awesome. But speaking of PitchIT, we have our guest for today. We have Ian McDonald, who is the CRO over at getKambium. getKambium. I always get that because I know we just talked about it before, if it's Kambium or Kambium, but getKambium. Ian, how are you today?
Oh, well, thank you, Paco. How are you?
I can't complain. It is I can definitely do a better job of introducing that company of yours, but definitely want to make sure that we keep the show rolling. But just wanted to dive in. Appreciate you taking the time out to introduce us to getKambium. Yeah. But before we kind of dive into what the business does and what it offers for solving pain points for MSPs and IT service providers, why don't you tell us a little bit about your origin story and how you kind of found your way to getKambium?
Well, getKambium, it's a spin out from an MSP based in New Zealand. And a few years ago, we realized the marketplace was changing. It wasn't about selling boxes, licenses, warranty lookups. It was about selling services, advising clients on risk, on integration, on different solutions. And so how did we change the way that we talked to clients to sell them our value? And we put together a bunch of tools internally to do that. And we went to a ConnectWise Evolve meeting and showed these tools to a bunch of guys who all said, oh, that's great. Can we have that, please? So that was the gestation of getKambium. We said, yeah, okay, we can build that. Mm-hmm. And here we are today.
Yeah, I love how simple it is, right? We showed a bunch of people, they're like, hey, can we get that?
Sure.
Yeah, we built it. Sure. Hey,
How hard can that be?
right. Well, I think that's that's the beauty behind it. Is that you guys are saying it so simply, right? And Paco is an MSP, and when he's sourcing out vendors and products and everything else, just like any other business owner, it's all about how simple is it to work with you all.
Right.
You know, even if you have the greatest product in the world, if you're hard to implement and hard to work with, they're going to stay away from it, right? So I think that's a big value add. Is hey, it's hard work in the back end. People shouldn't think it's easy, because I think it's easy. Everybody will be doing it, right? But
Right.
you know, so I think, I appreciate that completely.
Yep. And especially trying to connect the dots, right? And being able to really find a point where, hey, we solve these pain points. And really, like, you know, with your platform, you're helping ask the right questions, get better and smart with the discovery process, really understanding how to complete the sales process, and being able to say, you have this problem, and you probably don't even know you have this problem, but you need to figure out how is it that we can go ahead and move from here to here, but in a fashion where A, you're not getting into the weed of things, right? B, how to make sure that you're actually helping your end users communicate to what you do, and not get stuck on what you think is important, but really to what their involvement and what they believe is important as well. So it just sounds like that simplicity of being able to connect those dots for an MSP, an IT service provider, to onboard and learn the product. That's so much important, along with, as Sean mentioned, being able to enroll and understand how to work with you all, so they can have the ability to offer those type of things to answer those questions. So definitely simplicity works.
It's just key now. The report was put out recently by Service Leadership, basically saying the conversation that MSPs have to have with their customers now is not about technology, it's about business. Best practice at MSPs: engage a C-level, focus on business goals, tailor your stack to their business needs. That helps you grow. And you know, one of the other sort of spin-off benefits, I was talking to a user during the week, because you've given them a document that, you know, has recommendations aligned to their business goals, it overcomes any objections. How can you object to a proposal which is going to help them achieve a business goal?
Yeah, no, and I think that, you know, not only do you have the ability to really just figure out how to kind of outlay that as best as possible, but I think what really for a lot of people just do is when they're in that sales process, right, and you're trying to communicate business goals, you have those that are in a position where they feel that they are, you know, they can't model themselves and just say, hey, we have the greatest services and things of that nature. Like, there's no more managing a client's IT and their technology stack and secure their endpoints and things of that nature anymore, because we are now moving into a position now where a lot of that is becoming commoditized, where now you have to become the business advisor. You have to be able to solve the decision, as you just mentioned. And so I think a lot of people get stuck on that because they feel like they can speak to it, but oftentimes it's either, again, going into the weeds, or there's just word vomit because they don't know when to stop themselves, right? And so I'm assuming from the marketing on the website and kind of discovering what the platform does, it helps guide them in a better, more structured, standardized way so that they can have more predictable results, is what I would imagine.
Absolutely. It's got, you know, it starts off with asking the right questions. getKambium's got the library of questions. You know, out of the box, you can go to your customer, ask the right questions, convert those questions into recommendations. Those recommendations flow through into roadmaps. The roadmaps flow through into QBRs. It's a completely novel way to change the way in which you engage with customers. It will fundamentally change the way in which you engage and demonstrate value.
Now, Sean, I know that, you know, we talk sales every day, all day, because everyone who is running an MSP or a business in general, you have to be, you are in sales, whether you want to accept it or not. The question is, are you good at it? You know, we talked about discovery and qualification and understanding, you know, A, is this client good for you? Right. But also B, are you good for them? why don't you dive in a little bit? Because I know qualification discovery is such an important piece that a lot of people tend to overlook because they're trying to get the end goal. It's kind of that saying of like being in love with the process. Why don't you kind of give us your perspective of, that discovery, qualification, and the importance of that for us, an MSP or an IT service provider?
No, that is spot on. One of the biggest deficits you see is people just assuming that they know what the prospect wants, right? And I always attribute it to like therapy. If you go to a therapist, you're there to talk and they ask you questions. They don't tell you how to solve the problem. They're asking you all the questions. They pull the pain out. So, your first job when you're talking about to a prospect is become that trusted advisor. The only way you can be is if you're listening to them, right? And asking them the questions. And yes, I'll go on record right now saying that they probably need 90 to 95% of what everybody else needs, right? But it does not matter, because every single prospect you talk to, whether it's a vendor to an MSP or MSP to an end user or whatever, they always say, I'm different than others. I've heard it a million times. You're spot, and you are, because because it's coming from you. It's coming from your position, what you see you need and what you need to achieve now and later, right? So you have to go into it with a clear set of questions rather. And that discovery, and again, the buyer's journey's changed. We talk about it forever. The buyer's journey is always changing. So I don't even like using that line because it never stopped changing. It's always evolving. But the fact is, nowadays, they are more educated. They've already looked you up on or looked up a product similar or an offering similar in 5 different places. Look at how I just bought a new car a few weeks ago. Okay. I bought a new car a few weeks ago. Best example. I was on Car Genie. I was on Car Trader. I was on Edmunds. I was on Kelly's Blue Book. And I was also just Googling, right? So all these different things, right? Now I know the select criteria. I want a SUV. I want to be this and that, blah, blah, whatever. But at the end, I'm going to look and see where I can find it for the best price, probably, right? Because then we base off price and easy to work with, right? But it's who shows me the most love.
Yep.
I ended up picking I bought a car that was $10,000 more than a car that was similar, better name car that I bought, but and I got bought one similar for $10,000 less because of the loyalty in the conversation and getting to understand what was important to me specifically, not in general. Yeah, I know you need a car. Cool. Here's a car with air conditioning and power windows. That's not where it ends.
Yep.
Right.
And then,
go ahead.
Yeah, and I wanted to. So here's an odd fact that probably not a lot of people know is I used to work for an automotive software firm. So, and I was a database manager in there. So, and you're correct. In the automotive industry, at least X amount of years ago, it probably has changed to even more for the hyperscale of information is at the fingertips. So it is every dealership or every car, there is a person will look or a dealership will get 1.5 people to visit. So the way they skewed that or whatever.
Yep.
But the interesting part about it is what was honed into the used car manager, the general manager, et cetera, is that if a person is walking in the lot, it's for 2 reasons. Either A, you were their first choice from the research, or B, their first choice screwed up. And now you have the chance to figure it out. So it translates to back to exactly what you mentioned is they already know what they're looking for more than likely because of all the information they have in front of them. It's your job to help them sift through that information. And as you mentioned, the loyalty and how you made them feel and that rapport to get them to buy from you.
And the pain points. Let's make sure we acknowledge the pain points of everything. Yes, we already know they're trying to solve a problem. And the problem is whatever it is, right? Finding the right car. Okay. But the pain points come to play of, I don't have enough time to sit there in your office. I have to leave soon. I have to hurry up and get a credit application. How easy? Again, I'm using cars right now, but in the case of MSPs, it's less about the technology and more about what it did to them, how it affected them, how the struggle affected their business, how it affected their day-to-day life. That's what you want to talk about because they start telling you those things, and that leads you to the next logical question, which is, okay, well, how soon do you want this to happen and fixed?
Yeah.
And they're like, and they always say yesterday, right? Yesterday. Yeah. Okay. And I just got so bad to the point that I even say before they say it, I know you're going to say yesterday, ha ha, because they all say it, but realistically, when can you do it? Let me show you how we do it now. That's not until then. You come to terms. Now it's let's show you. So yes, it is so key.
Ian, anything you wanted to add on to that?
Yeah, the discovery process is the baseline, and it's not about how many It's not only it's not just about how many servers do you have, how many people do you have. It's about your business. Where's your business going? What's keeping you awake at night? It's about the relationship, and it's about how you're going to work together to get to where your client wants to be. That's discovery.
Gotcha. Perfect. Now, speaking of discovery, I want to kind of shift gears a little bit. Is you are the getKambium is a PitchIT contestant in the PitchIT program this year.
Yeah.
Can you share a little bit about why the business decided to? Well, first of all, how did you find out about the program, and then what made you all decide to go through it this year?
getKambium spun out of an MSP, which is a long-standing ConnectWise partner. So ConnectWise introduced us to PitchIT. We did PitchIT last year when we were really just starting out with the product. We learned an awful lot about what we were doing right, and more importantly, what we were doing wrong. So we've come back this year because we're in a much better place. We've got customers using the platform. We're learning much better how to sell, and in particular, we're learning how to drive our business in North America. For us, it's engaging with North America, and it's different. Every geography is different.
Gotcha.
I would agree with that. I think it's different and it's the same, right? Because they're still the same problems. It's just a matter.
Everyone's the same problems. Yeah.
It really comes down to your messaging and being on the same line as messaging, right? And you guys, last year, not like you didn't do well last year too, as a whole. But this year, you guys are more refined, which is nice to see.
Yeah.
It really is, and so I'm glad to have you guys back because you kind of set the tone for the others.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, I appreciate that completely.
And we're learning so much from PitchIT. I mean, the sessions, we PitchIT gives you a whole bunch of workshops about, marketing, selling, value, MSPs. How they work, what's happening in the MSP space. And in every workshop, you'll learn something. You learn a few nuggets. And it might just be, you sit there for the workshop, but there's one soundbite. And that can make all the difference in your approach to the market. It's invaluable.
I think that's something to highlight on there. And just as a general fact for anyone listening and really to gain from that is, you could be going through something like you just mentioned. You're going through the program a second time, which some things may have changed, some things have updated, but there probably is a lot that may be similar. And so for those that sometimes will go into, a program, an event, maybe a webinar, and they kind of just look at it and it's like, well, I know about all of this. And what is amazing is if you always go into with the mindset of, you know what, if I can get at least one nugget out of this whole thing, it's going to be beneficial for me having stayed through this, participating, going through the program. And when I've done that, I mean, there have been times where I've attended an event and I'm just thinking to myself, like, why am I here? I already know all this. This is more the same from last year. But I always, when I get myself in that mindset, I said, nope, you want to stay through. You want to keep an open mind. You want to know what's happening. And I can tell you, dollars to donuts, there is always something that comes out of that was either beneficial, either inspiring, or just downright, why didn't I think about that before? So there's something to kind of carry on that, what you mentioned. But I did want to ask you, Ian, and as far as for getKambium's sake, is what are you all looking to accomplish from the program? Because obviously you've mentioned that you did go through last year, you're going through it again this year. I think everyone does like to say, hey, I want to make it to the finalists and win the money, but is there something more deeper to participating to the program that you're looking to accomplish as a business?
First off, we're looking to validate our US go-to-market.
Okay.
But this time we're in the US with customers, with some revenue, with some market feedback. And then it will help us guide, how we invest in North America. One of the things that we really want to do is set up a customer advisory board. Let our customers tell us how they want getKambium to evolve to deliver value to them. And if we need to get some more US people, US MSPs giving us engaged in that process.
Gotcha.
So if we can get that out of getKambium, and it's a networking, it's a people relationships. We're selling technology, we're involved in the MSP space, but it's all about people. whether or not they're online, virtual. But one of the great things about PitchIT is you end up at IT Nation in Orlando, and you get to meet people.
That's awesome.
And that's where it all happens.
Yeah.
I think you should add on the fact of getKambium, the fact that they've reinvested into our space and our ecosystem. They were MSPs in our system using our product, part of Evolve, and like Ian said, they came with, we have this product, and we did stuff, and they're like, hey, can we use it? Great, let's start building it. That's sort of how it came to fruition, right? But so they were already investing as an MSP, and then reinvested as a vendor. So that they're part of the group. They are part of the community. They're actually the essence of our community and what it represents, is it, as far as I'm concerned. So I mean, we appreciate that.
Thank you.
And what I was going to add on to that, what Sean had mentioned too, and really the whole point of, in my opinion, of how PitchIT is kind of investing and vetting these vendors is, there's the concern of an emerging vendor coming into the space and may not be around for long. And you just mentioned, hey, we're looking to get feedback to understand if we're going to commit and invest in the US and get US partners and get that research feedback. And I think that just goes to the testament of what PitchIT is doing to help bring those to light. Sean, can you share a little bit more of kind of what really is another feature of the PitchIT program and how it's really benefiting the MSPs and the IT service providers today on the vendors that you are all highlighting?
So on a couple of different sides, one is the fact that, and Ian had mentioned it, as far as they're receiving workshops every single week from practitioners in a space that have a specific discipline. So it's improving them. Case in point, last year's winners, Alert Ops, they were able, from the classes, they trimmed their onboarding time in half with their clients. That's a big deal for MSPs, right? So that's one. That's just educationally. On the other side, working with people like you guys, Paco, getting the awareness out of what these vendors do. We all know, CompTIA said it for years. It's a great time to ChannelCon, right? That every year they put out the report, right? And they say, these are the services and technologies you need to be a complete MSP or an MSSP, right? So stack alignment has been something forever discussed. The problem has always been where to find these clients or these vendors. If they can't afford to be at the big shows, you're not seeing them yet. A lot of them are bootstrapped, or they have enough money, but when you're picking your year and when you're going to invest your money, you've been to Channel Partner Expo. If you're at Channel Partner Expo and you're sponsoring, if you're not like a top level sponsor, you're in the back of the room, 10,000 people walking through that never get to you because they just walk through 3,000 vendors, right? Yep. So it's like, it gets the awareness. It gives them a chance to interview them like you're doing now. So it gives a chance for people to know who Ian is now, right? As a person, to know he's credible, know he's smart about what he's talking about, but also know what getKambium is and where to find them, So it's a beacon, so to speak, that you guys are helping with. And that's what the program is designed for, is to create, give them the ability to build the awareness, to generate business, to have staying power in the space.
Yep. And it delivers, it works.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, and they've all done great, and every single one of the vendors they're in have been part of the show almost at this point. They'd be like one more left. We have to still reschedule, but otherwise, like seriously, that's what it's about. It's about them giving back to the community and the MSPs finding these vendors and looking at them and watching the videos and then doing their own due diligence, see if they like them and buy them. If they want to. Right. That's it. Nobody's forcing anything, which is nice. This is an easy way to shop for vendors.
Yep. Now, Ian, as far as, if you can walk us through the process of, let's say someone listening to this, they've gone to the website, they've heard what you had to say, they want to learn more. They want to be, how do you go from prospect to partner with getKambium, and how easy is it to A, work with you and understand what the product can do, and B, the time frame that it takes for them to be a partner to kind of hit the ground running?
If I can deal with the last point first, we were up in Denver last month at the PAX 8 Beyond conference. We had a new subscriber sign up on the Sunday night, and they were using the getKambium to do a client discovery on the Wednesday.
Nice.
So you can roll it out fast.
That's impressive.
As fast as you want to do it. Some companies are changing their sales processes, but you can onboard quickly. And as Sean said, alluded to with another customer or another PitchIT contestant, we've really changed the way in which we onboard the training sessions, how we get people up to speed. That we've really transformed that. But for a customer or for a partner, who's interested in getKambium. They get in touch with us. Interestingly, I think 2 of the calls I've had in the last week or so have been from people IT Nation in Orlando last year. It's when you get to the top of their to-do list, they're reaching out. We do a demo, and we'll take them through, understand the partner, what are their issues, what are they trying to achieve, what are their objectives. If they're looking at different tools, what's their objective? How do we help them get to their objective? And then we can onboard them. We do a trial, we do training, we work with them, real people, helping them implement, onboard, getKambium, and train their people in a way which will get them to achieve their objectives fast.
Awesome.
And it's all about growing, growing sales, retaining customers, reducing churn, and driving down cost of sale. We talked about discovery earlier. A discovery process, might take a couple of days. With getKambium, you can do it in a couple of hours. That time saving is money. Yeah. It's improving margin.
Now, as far as for the discovery call, right? And I think that, helping them get their process in place, their roadmap, their strategic, how they are going to pitch and do their sales call. Are you working with those prospects on understanding, so for example, for us in our discovery process and getting smarter, it took us quite a bit of years to really, solidify what those, we've narrowed it down to 23 questions and really trying to figure out how to identify if they are qualified and not. And there are going to be some that are going to be wanting to go into your platform that think they know what the discovery process is and may think what the qualification process is, but really it's either they don't know what they don't know, or B, they need help and they know they need help, right? And so I imagine that, your team is going to be there to help them kind of figure out what their process is and then help guide them into what's best practices, at least from what you've seen, not only with your experience, but with other partners as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And that happens in the trial process. So we've got quite a number of partners going to trialing just now. The one I was talking to yesterday morning, their problem, or they're sure that they're leaving revenue on the table. They're not talking to their clients in an effective way to actually know where their business is going, and there's an awful lot more that they could do and some revenue they could secure if they just had that deeper conversation and they had that better discovery. So we're working with them to train their account managers about going through the discovery process. How do you do a discovery? How do you ask the questions? Then we'll go through how do you take that discovery and tailor your stack to those the issues and recommendations. And that's 2 45-minute sessions, and you're good to go.
Nice.
That's impressive. So, question then I have, when it comes down to the technology, the stack, right? Are you working in conjunction with some of these technologies with like integrations or just educational pieces behind what their technology does and how it fits? Are you doing that for them?
No, it's more guys like ConnectWise Service Leadership are working with MSPs around coaching, looking at best practice. And I'll generalize. Best practice is about having all of your customers signing up to your singular technology stack, because that way you build margin, you grow the business. So what we are doing is helping them. How do you tailor the value in your stack into your propositions and align it to a client's business need? So we're not getting involved, as you're suggesting, around the integrations. We're integrated with ConnectWise. We pull in and push that into ConnectWise. But it's more around what's your stack and how do you align that stack to a business need.
Awesome.
And I imagine they can also obtain, at least to join or look into getKambium through the ConnectWise marketplace as well.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I think probably you should stress the fact that I said about they reinvest, but also the fact that they're a certified integrator with us. So we're
ConnectWise event certified around security and integration. Yeah.
Yep. So with that, and for for those that don't know that, what that means is that ConnectWise vetted out the vendors. They go through a series of certification checks. And the last one they do is security, of course, to make sure their security is good too, because it's a very important piece. But that's a test in the fact that they've actually been able to integrate with us, and they've also passed all certifications. So we have kind of given them a green check of approval, right? That you can work with them.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Very good.
And one thing about getKambium you haven't really sort of mentioned is, and it relates to the ConnectWise integration, is with getKambium, the process starts with discovery. And we're almost starting to talk about discovery for some clients as QBR discovery, because you do discovery in the client, you understand the business, you make the recommendations, and that seamlessly flows through into the QBR. So your QBR is driven by business goals. And the QBR also pulls in the data from ConnectWise if you want it around warranties, life cycles, etc., and roadmaps.
Very cool. So that has definitely the potential of not only relieving some of those items that maybe someone may be having as a third party, but now can have that certified integration with ConnectWise, with getKambium, and rolling in that software in that platform as well.
And it's all automating workflows and driving down costs.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. And I think that's perfect and very big to highlight as well, because I think as we're getting into a point where some of us are trying to figure out how to do things proficiently and at least as efficient as possible, but also in an integrated manner, and also saving costs doesn't hurt as well, because I think a lot of us are trying to figure out some of that as well as part of their investigation and as they move forward with what they're doing for their stack alignment and things of that nature. But Ian, we're tailoring in of the episode here. I just want to make sure that we did cover everything that you wanted to discuss. Is there anything that we may have missed or anything you wanted to highlight before we round out the show?
I don't think so. Thank you. PitchIT has been fundamentally important and useful for us. It's great to meet the people. It's great to learn. It's great to understand about the US. I've been selling in the US marketplace for 30 years. I love going into the US. But yeah, PitchIT is we now get daily inquiries. I'm not quite sure. They come on LinkedIn, in the emails, and it's all just this. You're being there, you're being in PitchIT, you're getting that profile. We're getting better at explaining what it is we do, and people are going, okay, tell us more. And now I've got clients who, where it's working, it's delivering value. You've got good, happy customers.
That's awesome. Sean, any lasting words before we end off the episode here?
I think, again, I say this on every time we talk. I think it's just important that as MSPs, you guys do your part. You're looking for vendors. Check out the PitchIT vendors, give feedback, reach out to them, tell them what they can do to improve. Tell us what we can do to improve. I mean, you can find me, I'm everywhere. So again, we're looking for the best of the best, and we know the MSPs are. So, do your part. Don't sit back. Don't be the Monday morning quarterback and complain about things. We need to be an active component of this and make the program better and make these vendors better. Check them out, see if they work for you. If they do, purchase. And if they don't, tell us why.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's
awesome.
all.
Perfect. Well, Ian, I really greatly appreciate you taking out the time to come out here. For those that wanted to know more about getKambium, what's the best way for them to reach out and possibly see what you guys are all about?
Onto our website or onto our LinkedIn page. You can either just sign up for a trial or just drop us an email. I'll get back to you. And we can get a call, figure out, learn who you are. It's great. Every day you're learning about new MSPs in Canada and the States and Australia, and then we can have that conversation, and we learn, and hopefully the partner learns, and we do business.
Perfect, awesome. Well, again, Ian, really appreciate you coming out. Sean, my friend, I think this is the last one that you and I are going to be doing about this emerging vendor series, because
we have a reschedule. We have one more.
Is that on a Friday?
No, I don't know when it's happening. I got to find out when it's happening. We have to reschedule. He's
right.
Rescheduled on us. But wait, there's more.
Gotcha. So in the event that there is a possibility, you may see us as a duo once again. If not, it will be with Rick Smith for sure, because we do have a couple more coming after this.
Yep.
But again, as always, it's been a pleasure chatting with you and chopping it up about the emerging vendors that are coming into the space.
Absolutely not. I appreciate you helping us, man. Thank you for this.
Yeah, thank you, Sean. Thank you, Paco.
Thank you. And thank you for tuning in. Tune in every Wednesday and Thursday to catch more of this series as we are in the tail end of the summer. As we mentioned, this is our summer series for the Emerging Vendor Podcast. If you want to go ahead and see more of the podcast, head over to youtube.com/MSP Unplugged. Like, subscribe, hit the notification button to be notified whenever a new episode is available on the MSP Unplugged podcast network. Thank you for watching, and we will see you next time on MSP Unplugged.